Suitors, challengers, pretenders. When rivals meet over the attention of a mate, hormones coursing through their blood, every fiber of their bodies throbs with the same purpose. Producing some of the most astounding spectacles on Earth. The language of seduction and the struggles to reproduce provoke some of the most striking and diverse behavior in the animal world. Choreographies, squabbles, skirmishes, face-offs, and outright fights. All to conquer a female. Sometimes, disputes over a partner can lead to brutal brawls. But despite such agitated, amorous activity, certain chivalric codes often prevent blood from being spilt when conquering a mate. Attraction and reproduction are two very potent driving forces in the animal world. Intense, often breathtaking, and on many occasions very aggressive behavior is a common symptom. Chilean flamingos engage in a beautiful and elegant choreography, a communal bridal show full of tension. The flamingos come together for breeding and to participate in a series of spectacularly synchronized dances that help them channel the tension generated by reproductive passions, whilst at the same time needing to form a defensive colony. But despite efforts to manage such an outpouring of energy in a civilized way, there are times when battle becomes unavoidable. In this case, one of the male hopefuls is attacked by a group of roustabouts. The suitor has no choice but to flee. Far from shimmering, simmering Andean lagoons and marshes, tales of love and violence go hand in hand in the Mediterranean forest. Red deer. Today they're calm and wander through the forest, grazing where they go. In the grass beneath their hooves, strange-looking crickets prowl. The heads of Lusitanian spade crickets are flat and elongated, like a kind of retractable hood. Right now, they seem more interested in finding some food and swallowing it in a hurry, rather than any other passion. Nobody quite knows why they have such a strangely shaped head, an extraordinary hood-like feature. The good weather arrives, long hot days raising the atmospheric temperature, and with it, the spirits of many species. An almost palpable tension pervades above the deer and crickets' heads, making the large insects below nervous. Their outrageous jaws are out of all proportion to the size of their owners. Although they have the same purpose, the antlers of actual stags are small in comparison. Such formidable apparatus is intended to intimidate and, if necessary, fight. Males compete with each other for females in a very small territory, right in their prospective partners' backyards. Female stag beetles emit powerful pheromones that attract males, and these two must compete for her favors. Just as elsewhere in the world, 3 is a crowd. The more aggressive beetle will chase off his rivals. One launches the first attack. The other looks for something to give him an advantage, a position that allows him to fight back. The former will not give up until he expels his opponent or loses his little kingdom. It's an undisputed KO. The more aggressive beetle, the first to show his hand, wins. The loser must now fly off in search of another female to conquer. It's only a matter of time before the red deer are also in heat and start their own battles. At the end of summer, the first storms refresh the heavy atmosphere. And it's now that the unbridled zeal of the deer really starts. The bellowing of large males fills the forest, a strategy intended to intimidate any opponent. The spectacle of males bellowing at the tops of their lungs and fighting with all their might seems to hark back to the jousting of medieval knights intent on winning their ladies' favors by bringing down all adversaries. The stag's mission is to maintain a sizable and exclusive harem within his woodland kingdom and reproduce with all of them. But other males are jealous of both his territory and his females. The nature of the confrontation changes from challenging bellows to close quarters combat. The crack of clashing horns will echo around these woods for several weeks. Far away, high up in the rugged mountains that tower over the Mediterranean forests, another conflict of interest begins with the onset of the colder days of autumn. On the sheer rocky outcrops of the Sierra de Gredos, Iberian ibex, Spanish wild goats, face deadly dangers every day. But right now, those risks are heightened. An urgent, new and cyclical question is added to the perils of living in their vertiginous mountain home. It's the mating season. Even youngsters are caught up in the tension. They're the first to rehearse the ritual fights. Anywhere will do for practicing a thumping headbutt. And there are no age limits. Ibex hone their fighting skills from when they're kids, so that when they reach maturity, they can employ them with maximum efficiency. It seems this female is finding the attention of the increasingly inquisitive males as they check her potential fertility overwhelming. The most powerful goat is first in line. To gain that privileged position, he has seen his fair share of battles. During the mating season, vertigo in the heights and vicious horns are the twin prongs of a daily dilemma. When in heat, males focus all their energy on driving away any rival. And that leads to more than just a bout of head scratching. They smash into each other in rutting contests that can last for hours. The Sierra shudders with the sound of head-on collisions. Despite the ferocity of the fighting, there are never casualties, although maybe a fair few headaches. At the foot of the mountains, in Mediterranean holm oak groves, as the amorous zeal of the goats abates, some very scandalous birds keep the flame of passion alight. Cranes. Common or Eurasian cranes spend the winter among the Iberian oak homes, feeding on acorns and tender shoots. Like many tourists from Northern Europe, they come to Spain for a winter vacation, looking for good weather, sunshine, and food. Here they can escape the snowfalls and blizzards of their colder homes. Their life cycle is governed by both the length of the days and the weather. Just before they journey back to where they will bring up their family, they go into heat. Their iconic, suggestive courtship dances take place against a backdrop of holm oaks. Their calls ring out in the cold winter air. Males proudly display their plumage. They stretch their necks and trumpet loudly. The most ardent males noisily face up to each other. The tension increases. Females look on without wishing to seem too interested. At the climax of the show, the males finally jump and attack each other. It may still be winter, but the power of love and sex spreads unashamedly. The cranes dance and fight during the day. And at night, the curtain raises on the evening show. It's the turn of natterjack toads. All the toads from across the region congregate in the warmest ponds when they reach barely 5 or 6 degrees centigrade. Before winter had fully passed, the largest males were already swimming in the small lakes. They were the first to arrive, followed by hundreds more, to form a nocturnal chorus that deafens the darkness. The males' throats swell and they croak with all their might. It's a sound that can be heard over a kilometer away. All this vocal enthusiasm and effort is to all intents and purposes the amphibian version of the voice, albeit with a very different prize. Each male sings with every drop of energy he has in order to attract a female. It's not an easy task for them to distinguish between so many competitors. The first male to mate will not give up his bride. He holds her tight to assure he fulfills his part of the reproductive process. And still, the fight to reproduce can get more feverish. It's late May in the forests of Canada. Common garter snakes are beginning to wake up from their winter sleep. Who try to conquer them? The tension is almost unbearable. For every female, there are up to 5,000 eat, drink, or rest. They spend what limited energy they have in a frenetic effort to mate. Every one of them is under tremendous stress as they must fight off thousands of opponents every time a female. It may be bloodless, but it is nonetheless an intense struggle, and it takes a heavy toll on the male garter snakes. Scientists have shown that their frenzied passion causes premature aging and death much sooner and in worse conditions than females. The heart of the Brazilian jungles near the Amazon region. Despite their fiery and iridescent plumage, Andean cock-of-the-rock birds manage to keep out of sight while eating. They gorge on the fruits of palm trees. Food here is abundant, and there's always something appetizing to wolf down. This is a time of recharging batteries, of gaining strength in preparation for what's coming. Every afternoon, all through the year, each male cock of the rock flies to its own corner of the jungle. They're in training for the key moment of their reproductive behavior. In areas of the jungle known as leks, dozens of cock of the rock gather to compete. Like gladiators meeting in the sandy arenas of ancient Rome. They arrive little by little and settle in the branches. They study their opponents and shout at each other. It's a constant bustle. And the ritual is always the same. Loud calls and cackles are the first line of attack to drive off rivals. Then shaking feathers and wings, then little pursuits. Everyone tries to find the best position where the sun's rays filter through the thick foliage. The bright beams of the setting sun are a highly prized commodity that makes their plumage seem to burn like fire. Only the most attractive will get the best mates. These are no empty-headed Zoolander-like models. They carefully calculate the time and find the exact place the sunlight will burst through the leaves. They prepare thoroughly throughout the year for just a few days of the mating season, when females come to look for the most splendid males. Far away, in another ever-dwindling jungle, another battle takes place. In this one, though, color is used as a weapon. These fascinating jungles in Madagascar are inhabited by their very own species. The island is the only home of lemurs, a unique kind of ape. It's also where the most species of chameleons are found together. More than 30 of these surprising reptiles. There are giant chameleons and dwarf chameleons here. One species is Parsons chameleon. Unlike toads, cock of the rock, and the vast majority of animals, it's female chameleons that fight for the attention of males. Parsons chameleon is small, so it can hide perfectly among the jungle greenery. This is a very useful characteristic that helps them avoid being hunted and eaten. Chameleons are experts in camouflaging themselves and go unnoticed by many other animals. But between individuals of the same species, there are no secrets. They can always see each other. Their suit of camouflage can change color almost in an instant if a warning signal is needed. And when a male and two females come close, and the same tree is considered close, then war is inevitable. These are the true Amazonian warriors. There can be no sisterly compromise. This tree is not big enough for the both of them. Chameleons change color to fight, communicating irritation, jealousy, or anger to their rivals. When discovered, the battle begins. Lighting up with vibrant reddish colors, the more aggressive chameleon threatens the newcomer. The subordinate also changes color in an attempt to resist. The fight is a kaleidoscope of incendiary colors, each change of skin tone intended to expel the competition. The fight ends with the expected outcome. The weaker chameleon raises the white flag, and the victorious female now waits for her male to arrive at his appointed hour. Call it love, sex, or reproduction, it drives all creatures, pulling the strings across the whole planet in a staggering variety of ways. Sometimes very harsh. In Chile, in the Atacama Desert, the local 𝗥𝗲𝗹 bees hover around the outskirts of their underground cities. In the driest desert in the world, life is very hard indeed. Bees have found that the best way to escape the heat and aridity is to excavate chambers in the sand, which retain some humidity and coolness. 𝗥𝗲𝗹 bees build their small subterranean colonies near the entrances of local residents' burrows. A small swarm of males patrols the city gates. Males with their striking orange thorax seem very abundant. In contrast, the duller-colored females are conspicuous in their absence, until one emerges from the cool earth. She immediately goes to work, but as soon as she appears at the surface, she's descended on by a group of males. The competition is fierce. This may be the male 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗀's only chance to reproduce. The males fight bitterly over the female. They pounce on her, and she seems unaware of how to act in light of such a fulminating attack. Some males may have managed to fertilize her, but many others, exhausted by the combat and the heat, die out in the sun. Above the corpses of the tiny insects, their neighbors, burrowing parrots, like giant, colorful bumblebees, buzz around their large colony. While the 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗀 bees lead quiet, discreet lives, burrowing parrots are somewhat annoying neighbors who yell for no reason and without taking a breath. Burrowing parrots live together and fight together. This parrot species usually forms stable mating couples, but as in any relationship, there are good days and bad days. Communal life offers protection and company, but it also brings a lot of stress and rivalry. There are close relationships on the one side and the eternal squabbling of couples and neighbors on the other. And yet, despite the fights, parrots will never draw blood. In fact, even size does not necessarily mean that fights will end with blood flowing. Southern elephant seals rest on the beaches of the Valdez Peninsula in Argentina. They spend only a couple of months each year on land in order to reproduce. The males spread out over the beaches to form their harems, which vary slightly in number. But despite their considerable efforts, only a few males are able to maintain a harem. They do so only once in their lives, so at that time, they must fight without rest. Each male must defend his group of fertile females. For weeks, the male elephant seals hardly sleep or eat. Defending the exclusivity of their reproductive partners occupies all their time and energy. Male elephant seals appear to be capable of the fiercest combat in the natural world. Although in reality, determination is the most important thing. Shouting and pushing intimidates most competitors, and it certainly helps if you can really throw your weight around to back up your verbal threats. Titanic males weighing up to 4 tons smash into each other to establish priority when it comes to passing on their genes. And once he's driven off his rivals, a male will focus on his females in a display of surprisingly tender affection. Love, sex, violence, an explosive recipe, and one not only seen in Hollywood. Ritualized mating behaviors are common in the wild and have evolved in order to avoid unhappy endings. Black-flanked rock wallabies swarm over the ancient rocky outcrops of Australia. These little kangaroo-like marsupials are usually very peaceful. They live in stony environments where they can make a quick getaway if the need arises. Among the rocks, they know where to find the plants on which they feed and the small pools where the water from the last rains is stored. Rock wallabies lead an austere but largely quiet and calm existence. Until the script turns to sex and ignites their passions, that is. Then the scent of fertility that females produce is enough for males to go from being BFFs to hateful adversaries. The transformation into violent, ruthless beings is almost beyond fiction. The mating season for rock wallabies is a free-for-all free boxing match. No rights or rules in this bout. The gloves are off and anything goes. Flying kicks, punches, slaps and scratches, and one male emerges victorious. And in a no-limit street fight like this, serious injuries are incurred. The loser can come off very badly indeed. Passion pushes animal behavior in many different and startling directions. Some of the most remarkable natural spectacles on the planet are triggered by sex. Desire, the basic need to reproduce. Elegant dances, devastating duels, brutal brawls. Each species has its own effective and decisive way of resolving affairs of the heart.